Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm gonna be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto's Abandoned and Awaken at Kekkei Genkai. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this all with your friends and social media platform. And also guys, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto had the ultimate nature bloodline. So go ahead and check that out and enjoy guys. And he also posts a brand new episode of What If Naruto was told about the Uzumaki clan from the beginning. So go ahead and enjoy that as well guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Kyuubi ran away, as Naruto went after her, as he ended up finding her in the snow. As she woke up, as she was walking through a strange dark tunnel, as she couldn't see who was carrying her, she questioned him. As she remembered what Sandy had told her, she questioned him about his name, as he got them all right and everything, so it was him. When they stepped out of the darkness, she saw what he was, and she was shocked. He looked like a demon. And she was surprised by his appearance, but he was harmless, and not to mention he was nice, and he helped her. As Naruto spoke to her about, well, what was going on in the village, and the reason why he was helping them. It made Kyuubi came to a realization, but before she could say anything, the train started to come. As he flashed away with her, Kyuubi was surprised, as she did not understand how did they get away. Kyuubi was captured as the Konoha ninjas arrived by Doton people. As Naruto went after it, him and Natsume slaughtered all of Doton's men that tried to stop them from entering, as Kakashi was, well, thinking about something. Sasuke was pissed off that these two were doing all their job for them. So with that, the group made their way, as Naruto and Doton made a deal. As the man thought that he had a chance against Naruto, without even his demon form, Naruto beat him into a pulp, and hit him with a Rasengan that ripped his lower half from his top half. Kyuubi was then named Daimyo after a couple of months, as she thanked the Konoha ninja once again, even though they really didn't do that much, as Naruto and Natsume appeared in there. She wanted to get to know her friends better, so they spoke and Naruto told her about his life. She couldn't believe a mother could ever treat her child like that, but she was happy that Naruto was living a better life now. She wanted to be the Kage of the snow, as they need a military force as well, so they didn't have to rely on the other ninja forces. As Naruto told her that he would think about it, she told him that he could, that he had enough time to think about it and give her his answer. With that, they move on once again, as Naruto started to learn about his fire finte, until he went to get another sword, as he started battling the art of dual sword fighting. And they had a informant in Orochimaru ranks, as they found out that Orochimaru was planning on attacking the Hidden Leaf. Certain people there didn't want the snake to hurt, but it wasn't like he had any good feelings for Konoha. In fact, he didn't really like Konoha that much. The village, he despised it, to a sense, including Natsume after everything they did for him. But they would keep that silence to themselves right now, as they had a plan to return back there. They were just gonna take care of Orochimaru. It's not like they were gonna become ninjas of the village, but they have to play that they didn't have it out of the village. The story then finally came to an end, as Naruto finally telling them about what he went through in the past couple of years. He had left out a lot of major detail in telling Sarutobi and others about how strong he was, and also what he has been doing and what he was planning to do. As Sarutobi was shocked, taking in all of everything that Naruto just told him, as this was quite shocking. So he was half human now, half demon, and well, it was just shocking. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across to the PlayStation for yourself, so let's begin this new episode. Okay, let me get this straight. You left the village under the guidance of the Lord of the Bijous, who is actually female. who then proceeded to teach you the way of the shinobi. Not only that, but inside training you learn how to release the Kyuubi from the seal, and you also became part demon yourself in the process. Is there anything I'm missing? Asked Sarutobi. Well, as an abstract of the story, that's about it. I see. I suppose if I asked you about specific details, like let's say where you travel, who trained you, and the jutsu that you learned on your training trip. And how did you manage to bypass your father's seal to release the Kyuubi? You wouldn't be willing to answer my question. Am I correct in assuming so? Asked Sarutobi. Seems like you know me just as well, old man, said Naruto. As Hiruzen sighed in frustration and disappointment, as he was really curious what the boy, no, man in front of him can do. It's part of my job to read people, Naruto-kun, and I can easily tell in the way you describe your stories. You left out most of your details. My reasons are quite simple, you see. I don't trust this place. Although I trust you people in the room. This place, I will never learn to trust it, he said. And, given your positions, liability as shinobi, it is not safe for me or Natsu-chan. The council has a lot over, well, pretty much all of you, he said. And, them need to know this information. It can be brought out of you guys forcefully, given your positions. And that is not something I'm willing to let anyone know. I'm not telling you everything for all of our sakes, just in case everything will go badly in the future. Besides, isn't one of the greatest advantages of a shinobi is the element of surprise. Where is the surprise if I tell everyone that I'm capable of? Well, I certainly can't argue about your logic, about the situation that we're now in, now that you've returned. And it is as you guess, the council want to know about you as soon as possible. As Sarutobi then turned, Natsu Kyuubi-san, he said, as he wasn't as sure how to address her at all. If you and Naruto-kun are okay with me asking, how would you evaluate Naruto on his abilities, rating him as a shinobi? She was the one that teach him, so she must knew. And she glanced towards Naruto. Before she spoke, well, I suppose I can answer a question like that without giving away too much of his specific abilities. On a scale of between Genin's and Kage, for his jutsu knowledge, chakra reserves without my influence, and his skill in taijutsu and genjutsu, I would say that he was around high Jonin level in that scale. But that is only because we weren't able to get a lot of real battle experience to practice what he has learned. If he had more time out there, I will give him probably Sanin. If not even Kage, she said, as she saw the look of shock on their faces. However, if he fight with my chakra in his release form, I'm not sure who on this planet can handle him, she said. You could basically call him a god amongst mortals. As all of them stare at Natsume, wondering if she was gonna say that she was joking or something like that. After some time, Yamato was the one that broke the silence. I'm not trying to doubt your words, but it's just been 6 years. How could he get so strong after just 6 years? Said Yamato. That shouldn't be possible, no matter how hard the training has been. As Natsume's smile simply increased at that. What can I say, you fools? Beat up, torture, abuse. The man that became the strongest shinobi in this world. As she noticed the looks on their faces, the shame in all of their faces. What you fail to notice in Naruto-kun, over the past 6 years I've nurtured and grown it. And now you see the man in front of you is a fruit of my teaching, with his determination to become a great, honorable shinobi, to protect the ones he care about. You really have no idea how much potential and talent that you let them trample on in this village. But many people will learn from their mistake in the future, I'm sure of it. Especially Kushina Uzumaki, that bitch she thought herself. I see. I cannot deny the past, nor can I excuse anyone's actions towards him when he was younger, said Sarutobi. Speak for yourself, Hokage-sama, said Tatsumi. My mother is right, the Inuzukas tried their best to respect the wishes of the 4th Hokage, but we were spat upon by the other villagers, said Hana. Calm down everyone, said Naruto. We didn't come back to make everyone feel guilty. Well, maybe a little. But still, you guys tried your best to help me when I was younger, he said. But I'm not sure there's much I can do to give my thanks. But hopefully the reason why we came back here can be good enough. Hiruzen raised eyebrow. And what reason is that, he asks? Orochimaru, one of his sons, the missing name, Esran kinda said. As Natsume clenched her fist tightly. Naruto, I need you to tell me what this is about, and please, don't leave out any details, Sarutobi said. Of course, said Naruto as he took another sip, before he explained what Nobu told him about the upcoming invasion and student exams. As the group was rather shocked by the news, except for Sarutobi. Orochimaru had said that he would have vengeance and leave, and he would watch it burn while laughing. I see. This information will help us a lot. Thank you, Sarutobi said, as Naruto simply waved him off. The people in this room are important to me, he said, and knowing that you guys are going into the battle unknown, well, information is always the best key, isn't it? Not only for yourself, but also for us, since we're helping you out, he said. Sarutobi smiled before he frowned. I know the village probably won't like your help. Despite this, I will speak to all of them. Despite many of them don't deserve mercy from the both of you. After all, it wasn't easy for Naruto growing up, as he had the worst life in his village. Everyone discarded him and saw him as a monster, his own clan, his own mother. So, was he supposed to feel love? No. He was supposed to be someone that was vengeful at his entire world, yet he was not. He was calm. Here he was explaining and giving them information that saved many lives. Because them not knowing about the upcoming invasion would have sparked a lot of deaths, but now they can plan and prepare. What's done is done, said Naruto. And I pretty much have to help everyone, said Naruto, since I'm here to help you guys. Oh, and if Natsu-chan is right about the reason Orochimaru decided to get the Sun helping the invasion, you don't really have much to worry about. We have close ties to the Kazekage, and if I speak to him, I believe I can get him to turn his back on Orochimaru. Let me guess. Something has to do with their trip that you haven't told us about, said Sarutobi. As Naruto simply nodded. Very well. After all you told me, I have no reason not to trust you into this too. However, there has to be some procedure set. I hope you understand. Understood, said Naruto. Know what exactly has to be done for us to become Genins, considering the academy has already graduated this year? Well, the procedure would be on your skills on ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu. However, I have something else on my mind as spar, to test you against one of my Jonins of my choice. Oh, sounds interesting. And who would be your opponent, not my axe? Oh, just someone from your past, said Sarutobi, being rather secretive. Well, bring it on, said Naruto. Well, it will be a week. The Jonin who I'm thinking of is currently out on assignment. That's fine, we can wait while we get reacquainted with this wonderful place, said Natsumai. Speaking of that, I would like to know what is your current relationship, said Yamato. He really wanted to know, after the things that he heard, and he still couldn't believe that this, well, it was just shocking. Hana was silent about it, but she also wanted to know from the beginning, as the way it sounded that the both of them were rather close. When she agreed to go with him on a date before, she never knew this. Unfortunately for Hana, Natsumai took a challenge as she grabbed Naruto by the shirt and pulled him into a deep kiss, as the kiss ended with a smack. Does that answer your question, said Natsumai, as the door then closed as everyone realized Hana was gone. Silly girl, said Natsumai, as she got to her feet, as she hid her, well, features, the tails and the ears, as she went after the girl. What was that about? Asked Yamato. Something quite personal, said Tazumi, as she glared at Naruto softly. Sorry about that, said Naruto, as he rubbed back of his head. So, old man, said Naruto, tell me what has changed in the past 6 years. Meanwhile, as Natsumai was growling angrily, this girl was lucky that Naruto liked her so much, otherwise, she wouldn't even waste her time going after her. As the girl was running away, Natsumai pulled out a kunai and some ninja wires, as she threw it. The girl was quite caught up in her emotions, not even focusing, when she was pinned against a tree as she was wrapped up by the ninja wires, as Hana could not look at Natsumai. Why did you run away? He's really like the others. Just wanting only one thing, said Hana as she looked down. Well then, if you really think that Naruto-kun is that way, then you don't deserve anything from him. And besides, he can have my body anywhere and anytime that he wishes, so going after yours would be quite redundant. Although, for a human, you're quite gifted. Well, I'm sorry that not all of us can have a body as yours, said Hana, as Natsumai simply smirked in amusement, seeing the girl getting all riled up. Ah, that's what I was looking for, the inner side of pride that I heard so much about. I'm glad that it isn't lost on the females of the clan, and especially you, since you're their ear. I'm glad you haven't lost that spark. I would never allow Naruto can have a weak mate by his side. That kiss in the office said everything, so why the hell would he need another? Asked Hana in a rather angry tone, as Natsumai flicked her across the forehead. You don't know the details of our relationship, so I'll forgive you for your ignorance this once. As she cut ninja wires, Hana rubbed her forehead, as Natsumai sat down in the grass, before patting right beside her. Hana growled a bit, but she sat down. Good. I see that you're willing to understand the situation. That's a good start. But before I begin, there's one thing I want you to keep in your mind. Naruto's interest in you is 100% genuine. And although he finds you quite attractive physically, he's quite interested in you as a person and a fellow shinobi, as Hana was told everything by Natsume about their personal side. Yes, what they agreed to, given the fact that Natsume could not have children for Naruto. As she was explaining, "Are you okay, Natsu-chan?" The voice of Naruto came in her mind. "Yes, fine, just explain the situation to Hana so she doesn't try to castrate you." "I see, well, I'll leave it to you then." "And that's why he asked you out," said Natsume as she finished her story to Hana. She felt guilty now, as she thought that he was just a dog who was after her for her body. But now after hearing this, she was, well, feeling a lot guilty. "Sorry for that," Hana said. As the Kyuubi could understand. Them being Inuzukas, they had this, well, any girl react that way, but Inuzukas has more wild passion. Well, honestly, it's alright. And I mean, who wouldn't react that way after a kiss after a guy just asked you out? And if you hadn't react that way, my respect for you would have been gone. I would have thought that you was one of those fangirls. Wouldn't even care that you was in a relationship, you just want to be there, you wouldn't even ask. But I would have thought that you were stupid. But with your actions, you show me your self-respect as a woman. And that shows a lot. But when that part is up to you, about being with him, it's not like anyone's forcing you into anything. Okay, Natsume-san. We should start heading back though. Your mother's all alone in that room, with three men of 3 different age groups. Who knows what they're doing to her there? Natsume joked as Hana, I started to twitch. As the two walked back to the tower, Natsume was thinking of how many ways she could destroy the village, blow it to cinders, and slaughter everyone here except for the few people that Naruto care about. But Naruto told to leave it standing, and Hana was thinking about what Natsume said. Time skip. Welcome back, you two. I hope this situation has been dealt with here since said. The both of them just nodded and returned back to their seats. Naruto-kun, was there anything else either of you need to tell us? Asked Hiruzen. Not really, said Naruto. Alright then, but remember what I said the moment the council know that you're back, you will be called. Not to mention I will have to tell them about the invasion, and who I received this information from. Do what you must, said Natsume. We have already made preparations for that. Alright, he said, as he then turned back to the paperwork before grumbling. Well, I guess I have to get back to my work. The group then got up as they left, as Naruto sighed as Yamato stayed behind. Hokage-sama, was it wise to keep the fact that not only will his mom, but his 3 siblings come here to participate in the Chunin exams? Asked Yamato. Yamato was the envoy captain, and he was strong. Relatively strong for a ninja. And he could tell when someone was hiding something. And the way Naruto and Natsume described their training, it didn't seem natural. And he could tell that they were far stronger than they were like none, well considering who Natsume was. But Naruto, there was just something confidence about him. And not to mention the way that Natsume described his strength. Truth be told, I want to give him a couple of days before dropping the bomb on them. I will simply wait after their training trial to tell him that Kushina and his siblings would be within Konoha in the next few weeks, as Naruto. Understood, Hokage-sama, said Yamato. Damn, I'm getting too old for this shit, said Naruto. Time skip. Konoha streets. So, my family is coming to Konoha to pay a visit. No less for Chunin exams. As Naruto overhear everything with his demon limit. Well then, I guess I have to give them a warm welcome. Arashi-kun. As Naruto blinked. What is going on? Sorry, I got distracted. What could be so important to distract you? Well, it seems like Kushina and her new kids are coming. The Chunin exams. I'm guessing that she's a Jonin sensei to oversee them. Total silence went over the area, as all of the girls knew that woman, when it comes to Naruto, she was basically like taboo. Well, don't worry about it, said Naruto. As Natsu-chan said in the office, they will all learn the mistake they made once the gloves comes off. Well, probably in the exams, he said. I guess I'll just enjoy this hellhole. Before you start anything, remember you still have some training to do. Just because you're back, that doesn't mean that you are finished. Besides, you need to finish it before yours and Hana date, if I recall correctly. As she saw, Hana's cheeks turned pink as that made her smirk. Good point, said Naruto. Hana-chan, I'll be back at 7 to pick you up for a date, okay? She smiled. That's fine, Arashi-kun, she said. See you then, he said, as he waved towards Sasumi as well, before him and Natsume vanished in their red and purple flames. I never would have imagined anything like this to happen. Not in a million years, said Tasumi. As she looked towards her daughters, both of them laughed at how their world was turned upside down in a matter of 2 days. Later that night, as it was now 6:55, as Naruto was making his way to go and take Panda for their date, as he was still going by his code name, Arashi. Given the fact that he's been with Natsuma now and knew a bit more about the opposite gender, he had a lot of experience when it comes to that regard. But still, he didn't went out on dates. And not to mention, things that he did with Natsuma was gonna be impossible with other females. Even with tips from his red-haired lover, it was gonna be different, because certain things that he could say to Natsuma, he couldn't say to another girl. As Naruto knocked on the door as they waited, he heard several curses as it made him chuckle. Well, at least I'm not the only nervous one tonight, he said, as he heard someone cursing about shoes. As the door then opened up right in front of him, she had a simple shade of red lipstick. Her hair was going down to her shoulder, a simple black dress that hugged her body tightly, that showed off her curves. It ended just above her knees, showing off her calves, as the straps were behind her, and a bit of her cleavage was exposed to entice it a bit, and a good set of rather fashionable black heels. You look stunning, Hana-chan, he said. As Hana looked him over, he looked quite different without his shinobi clothing, a white collar shirt with the top 2 buttons undone. The shirt was strained in a couple places because of his bicep, showing that he was rather muscular, but not grotesquely so. Black shoes with strange design that she's never seen before, with black pants. It was simple but just so elegant. You don't look bad yourself there, Naruto-kun, she said, as Naruto held out his hand, as she wrapped her arm around it. As Naruto brought her to a restaurant, she tensed up a bit. Is there something wrong, he asked. She shuffled her feet on the ground, being on a dating scene after all these years. It was bringing a past experience for her. Things only got worse when she saw the happy couples enjoying their dinner together. Her mind was racing with doubts until Naruto held onto her arm. Oh, sorry about that. It's just been a long time since I've been out with a guy. After what happened with Mizuki, it seemed self-doubt is settling back in. As she looked away embarrassed, he cuffed her chin and turned her head back towards him. Well, how about this? We just started our date. And if at any time you're feeling overwhelmed, I'll just take you back home, he said. She stared into his eyes. Thank you, she said. Thank you for being so patient with me. Oh, it's nothing, he said, as he opened the door. As she was about to step in, she noticed everyone was dressed casually. I think I'm a bit overdressed, she said. Well, it's good for you to make all of them jealous, given that you're going to be the best looking woman in the place, he said. She giggled softly as she took his hand. A few minutes later, after confirming his reservation for Kazuma Arashi, they were seated, as they ordered. They then started to speak about rather normal things, as he broke the ice rather quickly, and they got into a comfortable place, until the food came, as they started to eat their dinner. After that was over, Naruto brought them towards the park, where she and Natsuma had their little talk earlier. The walk was nice, the weather was perfect for the occasion, as the wind blew slightly, as Hana wrapped her arm around Naruto, as they went over to a bench and sat down. Seems like I picked the right night for a date, said Naruto. A wonderful weather. Yes, it's perfect, she said. As she rested her head on his shoulder, she realized that no one was around. Why do I feel so comfortable and safe around you, Naruto-kun, she said. Don't know, he said. Perhaps it was my natural animal, magnetism, he said, as both of them laughed at the joke. It was kind of corny, but that is what made it funny. Maybe, she said, as she nuzzled into him. There was just something about him that was so warm, so comforting, as the both of them stayed like that in the silence. As Hana didn't know what was happening because it was just so amazing being here, as she actually felt herself getting a bit sleepy, because being around him was just so comfortable and nice. As they stayed like that for about an hour, as she then blinked back into reality, realized that she was dozing off, as she just held onto his arm, wrapping her arm around his, her head on his shoulder. I must say, this is rather wonderful, she said, as the both of them got up, as she walked with her head right leaning on his shoulder, her arm wrapped around his. As Naruto was walking, as he made his way, as he actually took the red light district, as a can was thrown from one of the alley, making him stop. Well, 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 what do we have here, boys? As Naruto sighed, and the night was going so wonderfully, he said, Hey, I'm sure that you two lovebirds know the drill. Place all your valuables on the ground before we... Hey, wait a minute. Hana Inuzaka! Well. Look what we stumbled upon here, boys. The bitch that constantly denied my hand in date, saying that she don't want to go on a date with me. Yet she's quite chumpy with this guy tonight, is she, boys? Well, my friend, it's your lucky day. Why don't you go on home and leave her here? And go on home. How's that sound? Or you can try to be your hero and get your skull crushed in. As Hana felt something dreadful. As there was this feeling that just changed. It was like one moment Naruto was a soft, warm cloud and next moment it became stormy. If these guys could sense what she was sensing right now, they would be afraid. Because she was a bit afraid, she knew he didn't mean her any harm. But this feeling, as Naruto's eyes were sharp as he looked towards them, suddenly he placed his hand on the ground after unlinking his hand. Summoning Jutsu. The ground itself seemed to broke apart, as the blade just rose up out of the ground. As Naruto pulled out his blade. Oh, what's this? A shinobi? Don't think that will save you, kid. We're shinobis as well. So you are out of luck, and not to mention, can't you see the goddamn numbers? As Naruto threw the blade. But he didn't hit any of them as it pierced in the wall. Do not kill them. Don't want any trouble. Other than that, do what you like. Come on, Hana, he said, as he brought her along. Hey, where the hell do you think you're going? You don't have to worry. Your business is with me now. As he turned to see another Naruto standing there. As he looked with a rather demonic grin on his face. What the hell? The boss said. As Hana looked towards Naruto was no calm as ever. Who were you talking to? She said, before we left. Just a shadow clone jutsu I made. What do you mean? You didn't make any hand signs or call the jutsu. That's a Jonin 11 ninjutsu that can only be taught, or learned from the forbidden scrolls of sealing, she said. Well, I know certain things, said Naruto. Before she could retort, there was a scream as she looked back to where they were a moment ago. But Naruto simply brought her along. They then finally arrived towards the Inuzuka compound, as Hana released Naruto's hand. Thank you, Naruto-kun, she said. Tonight was wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed it, said Naruto. Sorry those punks almost ruined our night. They didn't ruin too much, and besides, just being on a date with you, it was amazing. Well, I'll make sure we don't run into anyone that unpleasant in our next date. Next date, she said. Well, I just thought, since it went so wonderful, we can go on another, he said. I would like that. I would like that very much, she said. Just kiss him already, she thought to herself. After all, it was the end of the date, and it was so pleasant and wonderful, and she wanted to kiss him, but yet, no, she couldn't remember the past right now. This was new. He was different as she moved forward and pulled him down into a kiss. As she broke apart. Thank you again, Naruto-kun, she said, her cheeks red, for such a wonderful night. Suddenly, someone flashed behind Naruto. Hana couldn't see him fully, but she saw that there was blood on him. But the sword was completely unscathed, not even a drop of blood. Here you go, boss. As Naruto sheathed the blade, as the clone poofed away. What did he do to them? Hana asked. Well, let's just say there is no point of them trying to get into your pants anymore, or any other woman. There wouldn't be any point, said Naruto. Hearing that, Hana was pleased, as those scums were known for some violent things. She wouldn't put it past them to try and take advantage of females. So, that was a good thing that Naruto showed them a lesson. Well, I guess they got what they deserve. Good night, Naruto-kun, she said. Sleep well, Hana-chan, he said. See you later. As she went inside, as she waved goodbye. As Naruto touched his lips, it was different, as he stepped forward before he vanished in purple flames. Meanwhile, welcome home, Hana said to Asumi, as Hana took off her shoes and joined her mother in the kitchen. Hey mom, so, how did your date with Naruto go? As her daughter blushed. That good, huh? Well, it was good, said Hana, as she hoped her mother wouldn't ask for details after all. It's been 3 years since she'd been out with a guy, and her mother was always encouraging her to go out and have fun. But she just didn't feel like it. But Naruto was just something else. He was different. It was only good? Come on, tell me you showed him some of the infamous Inuzaka flexibility. Mom, said Hana. Oh, I'm only joking. Stop being just stick in the mud. You've been like that for far too long. I know, but still. Really though, did you have a nice time? I have to say it was a wonderful night. Spending with him, it was amazing. Wonderful night with who? A brush. Voice shouted out as a person walked towards the kitchen. And you guys really need to keep it down. Some of us have mission in the morning, you know? Sorry about that, Kiba. Hana just got back from a date, said Azumi. Kiba was quite groggy from waking up after their loud talking. His sister screaming out mother. But, hearing the sentence that contained Hana and a date, his senses snapped into reality. Given her past, Kiba was rather protective of his older sister despite she should be the one protecting him because he was the younger one. Where is he? Who is he? Tasumi scoffed. Oh, calm down, Kiba. She said to herself she had a wonderful time. So leave it be. Although I'm glad that you're protective of her, nonetheless. Kiba sat down. So who is he then? He asked. You remember that guy that saved me from Mizuki? That story I told you a long time ago. His name is Arashi Kazuma. We bumped into each other yesterday, and after a short chat he asked me out. And here we are. Well, if it's that guy, I would like to meet him, said Kiba, to thank him. Truth be told, you don't want to meet the man that saved his sister alive years ago. If nothing else, they were honorable and prideful clan. Well, we'll see, Kiba, said Tasumi, but for now, we should let Hana go. I'm sure that she's tired from her date. You're right, Mom, squirt, she said. Stop calling me that, said Kiba, as Hana propped herself on her bed, as a blush came on her face remembering their kiss. As she thought that in the future things have to go a bit more, well, over that. Because their kiss tonight got her feeling all hectic, but she had to admit, the date was wonderful. Meanwhile, as Naruto stepped inside his bedroom as Natsume was wearing nothing but a bra and underwear, as she was set rather provocatively. I swear, even in her sleep she teases me, said Naruto, as he slid into the bed without a single sound. As he saw her shuffle slightly, she was pretending to be asleep, as he kissed her on the neck, and she didn't wake up as he kissed her once again, before his hands started to roam over her body, as a peaceful smile came on her lips. So I take it your date went well, she said, as she looked down as he came up and kissed her lips. Yes, besides the anger when a group of villagers decided to be rather troublesome. But I guess I turned her wrong because I got a kiss in the end, he said. See? Told you had nothing to worry about. As long as you be yourself, she said. Now, I suppose some reward are in order for me giving you that demon bloodline of mine. After all, it came quite in handy for you to listen to Hokage's conversation. So I guess it's reward time, she said. Well, I have to give you a reward, said Naruto. I did make a promise. That you did. And you always keep your word, she said. Time skip. A week later. It had been a week since they returned and the village was still blissfully ignorant. They stayed in their genjutsu form to not rouse any suspicion of who they were and what they really looked like. But it was final day for their evaluation, for their genin tests. Right now they were transformed as Naruto was in his child form, as they decided to get to field 7 for the designated time, just to wait. As Natsume was resting against Naruto's shoulder, as Natsume was sleeping, as Naruto wondered who was going to be his evaluator. Meanwhile, with Hana, she was currently having something to eat when she heard a voice, Hana-chan, as she saw Uncle Minarushi and Kurenai Iwai. The two women headed over to her table and took a seat. So how is our little pet doctor doing lately? We haven't seen you around much. I've been good. The office has been busy as hell lately. Sorry I didn't have much time to catch up with you guys. It's okay. We understand your responsibilities, said Kurenai. You'll just need to come out and party with us more and drink at night at the bars to make up for it, said Uncle. And the first thing you can tell us is, who is this Mr. guy you went out with last week? Hana paused. How did you know that, she asked. Well, gossips travel fast in this village. When it comes to reputation, some people in that restaurant apparently recognize you, and here we are. Well, it's none of their business, Hana said, but she was most embarrassed more than anything else. Maybe not, but come on, who is it? Uncle asked. We have to know. After all, he got you out on a date. He must be really gorgeous. You know I'm not that superficial, Uncle, said Hana with a huff. But yes, he's very handsome, and his name is Arashi. Arashi-kun, huh? Said Uncle. You remember that guy that saved me 3 years ago? Huh? You found him? Huh. You actually found him, said Uncle. Well, you have to refresh our memories and describe him in every single detail. And not to mention we want to get to know him. After all, we have to know this guy who's now interested in Hana-chan. As Kurenai nodded as well. Well, he's rather tall, muscular, not bulky. He has dark orange hair, that shape similar to the four Hokages, beautiful purple eyes that you can lose yourself in, a smile that could melt you to the core. As she started getting low in her thoughts, and an ass that you just want to squeeze, and lips that you just want to... I think we got the picture, said Kurnai. What the hell are you doing, said Uncle. I wanted to hear more. That's enough out of you, said Kurnai. After all, wouldn't you want to see the real thing instead of hearing descriptions, asked Kurnai. You're such a good friend, yeah. How about it? When can we meet this Mr. Man of yours? Well, I have to ask Arashi. He's quite antisocial, except for a few people. So I have to ask him first. As she realized it was 11:55 after 10 o'clock. Sorry, I have to go. See you guys around, okay? As she paid her bill and quickly ran off. Do you know what that was all about? No clue. Do you think we should follow her? What kind of friends would we be if we did not, Uncle asked. They followed her, strange as she was going to Training Ground 7. As Anna cursed herself, as the match was 12 o'clock and yet she almost missed it. But when she arrived, the test didn't even begin yet. But everyone was there, as Naruto was there, including Yamato, who was dressed in his envoy robes, and Tatsumi as well, as Hana appeared as well. You made it, said Naruto as he waved towards her, as she saw him in his disguise. As she waved back and took a seat beside her mother. Is it Jonin here yet, Mom? Asked Hana looking around. As Tatsumi shook her head no, and the Hokage is still keeping it from us, a few yards away in the bushes. What the hell is going on? Asked Uncle. I don't know, but it looks like you're testing out a possible genin. After all, without the academy test, the Hokage has to view each person like this. Well, it surely pays dating the Hokage's son. Meanwhile, what's going on, said Naruto? When is this person getting here? Just be a bit more patient. I promise, they're almost here. I told him not to be late. Suddenly, there was a poof. Sorry about that. I got lost in the road of life. As a man stepped out of the smoke to reveal none other than someone that made Naruto's blood boil. Surely, Naruto was only 6 at the time, but the memory that man planted on him with a genjutsu scarred him. Natsumai took his hand as she looked towards him. Calm down, Naruto-kun. Remember everything you've been taught. While you're not thinking properly, you go all berserk and I need to calm down and focus. Remember, this is a test for you to test your skills and show the Hokage that you're ready, okay? Although I already know that you're ready, but you just need to stay calm. Remember what we came here for. Thank you, said Naruto, as he spoke to her telepathically. As he calmed himself. Kakashi, I'm sure that you know why you're here today, said Hiruzen. Yes, I'm to test 2 teens to see if they're capable of becoming genins, and if I deem it so they will be added in my genin cell. So this is them, huh? As he turned, look at the 2 teens behind him. Given that Naruto transformed back into his kid form, Kakashi was able to put it together. Hokage-sama, is that... No, it can't be. Is that really him? Yes, Naruto-kun is quite alive, and he's back with a companion that he joined up with, while in his hiatus. I hope you aren't thinking of backing out now, after knowing who you're gonna fight. As Naruto smirked, remind me to get the old man something nice after this. After all, this was a fight, and the Hokage brought him someone that he wanted to hurt a bit. No, said Kakashi, it's just... I can't believe he's back after so long, Kakashi thought. Kakashi was a fool back then and he knew that. The Kyuubi took his sensei away from him, as he had spoken to his sensei's wife. And that demon had somehow taken over her son's body, and it was no longer her son, it was a beast. So he was vengeful towards the beast. That was rather stupid of him to think that the Kyuubi was a boy, in human form. And that is why he used that genjutsu to make it so dangerous, to hurt him. He was honestly no better than the villagers back then. He was an idiot. But he realized his mistake. All he did was crush the mind of the little boy who just watched his mother leave him. As Kakashi walked towards the middle of the field, as he took a deep breath to calm himself, the rules of the test are simple. You must use any means to strike a simple blow on Kakashi. There will be no killing allowed. You will have 3 hours to do so, understood? As the demon peer nodded, very well, the 3 hours will begin now. Begin! Natsumai then kissed Naruto as she simply walked over towards Tatsumi, and Hana was sitting down. You guys are holding back to not reveal anything. Shouldn't you be helping him? Asked Hana, in a whisper. Naruto and I already planned for this, granted. Kakashi was the one that we think that would show up. But nonetheless, I set up a genjutsu on the battlefield that will conceal Naruto chakra meaning he could use up to 5 tail state, and they won't feel anything but a high genin level chakra. But if he's fighting normally, wouldn't it be obvious that he's much stronger than a genin? Well, except for the people I wanted to seem real to, the others will just see it as Naruto being, well, a normal genin and Kakashi having the upper hand. But only the one I want to show the true battle will see the true battle unfold. Wow, that genjutsu is surely something else. No wonder why Naruto is so strong, having used that sensei for all those years. You have no idea. As she then moved, as she went between Tasumi and Hana, as she grabbed both of their hands, both women blinked when they saw a red dome around Naruto. A long story short, I said by genjutsu, the only way for you to see is if I'm touching you, she whispered towards Tasumi. Tasumi nodded. Now then, just watch. Meanwhile, as Naruto saw that Hana and Tasumi could see now, Naruto said Kakashi, I want to apologize. As Naruto was surprised, that was the last thing he expected to say. Apologize? Why is that? Because you weren't able to finish the job of destroying what was left of my mind 6 years ago. No. What I did back then, I want to apologize for it. I was brash and stupid, and I was so angry at losing my sensei. All I saw was red whenever you came onto the scene. I treated you like trash for hosting the Kyuubi inside of you, instead of revering you for the hero that you were supposed to be. It wasn't until I rushed less from Hokage, and you ran away from the village for me to realize what happened. I know that just apologizing won't make you just forgive me that easily, but still, I'm deeply sorry, he said. I won't ever forget what you did, said Naruto. But because of your brash, stupid actions, I was able to change and meet someone I love, Naruto thought to himself. As Natsumi smiled. So I'll give you a chance to repent for your actions, said Naruto. And that's all. Do not get the wrong idea though. I don't like you, and I don't think I ever will. But if you prove that you repent, I'll tolerate you, said Naruto. Thank you for the chance, Kakashi said, as he felt relief. After all, this kid standing here was Sensei's son, and it had pained him to know that the one thing Sensei left back in this world was someone that hated him. Now that we're finished, I still have to test you on your skills of becoming a genin, and your girlfriend over there. She will not be participating, said Naruto. And if I pass, trust me, she'll be able to pass as well. Alright, said Kakashi as he pulled out his book. Attack when you wish, he said. As Naruto moved, Kakashi ducked on the kick. As he then moved back, as Naruto swing, its leg forward, but Kakashi ducked under it once again. As Kakashi moved back a bit, the others were, well, surprised. For someone to get this close to Kakashi, especially a genin. Kurenai and Anko, they were rather impressed. So was Yamato and Sarutobi. On the other hand, Tasumi and Hana were shocked. They were seeing something completely different. He's that good? Said Tasumi. That good? Oh, trust me, he's far, far more stronger. After all, he still has to hold back. If he really went all out, he would have trashed Kakashi within seconds, but then people would have seen the destroyed training ground and wonder what the hell was going on, despite Kakashi still standing there and dodging Naruto attacks. Naruto is working with my genjutsu to keep up the illusion for anyone watching, and he's also putting Kakashi in a physical illusion so that he can have his revenge without being stopped by anyone. As you can see, Kakashi isn't really feeling what is going on with his body. Because of him, Naruto is not actually hitting him, but once this is over, he will find out. As to the others, they saw Naruto release a fireball jutsu before hitting Kakashi in the shoulder as he appeared behind him. A soft hit as Kakashi merely brushed it off. As Sarutobi ended the match. Not bad, said Kakashi as he brushed off his shoulder. That wasn't really strong in the way, but it was not bad. As Naruto nodded, as the old man came over. Congratulations, Naruto-kun. You and Natsumi are now officially genins of Konoha and under the leadership of Kakashi Hatake of Team 7. Well, this test is now officially over, so you're all dismissed. Kakashi, you and your new team are supposed to report to my office tomorrow morning. As Kakashi nodded, as Naruto then spoke, catching your attention. Kakashi, remember what I said before our fight? Oh, old man, I think you should get him some medical attention, said Naruto. I guess we're kind of even now, said Naruto, as him and Natsumi advanced to Shanshin. Everyone was confused until they felt a bit dizzy, like an illusion was just breaking on them. A cry of pain could be heard the next second as Kakashi dropped down to the ground. Everyone was shocked when they saw him, as his whole body was covered with bruises. The parts that they could see was badly bruised, and blood was seeping from his shirt and his pants. As Kakashi fell unconscious the next second. What the hell happened to him, said Sarutobi. Revenge, Hana said. What do you mean, asked Yamato. Well, it's rather simple, said Tatsumi. Granted, that none of you noticed, we didn't either until Natsume let us. The entire fight was in a genjutsu, although you all saw Kakashi dominate the fight. The truth of the matter is, that is what the genjutsu wanted to see, and Kakashi to feel. But in reality, every attack that Naruto launched, that it looked like Kakashi dodge, and sight, and evade, they actually hit, brutally. And as Hana said, he did it for revenge. The mental pain that Kakashi put him through. But instead he gave him back physical pain. The group, Anko and Kurina, were taken aback, as Sarutobi saw Naruto's lack of discretion in the plan. He didn't even see the real fight then, if Naruto had clothed the place in genjutsu that not even he could see, as Yamato took Kakashi to the hospital. Well, Naruto is surely hiding a lot. Now that was interesting, said Anko, as she looked towards Kurina. Well, now that he's back, things are gonna get a bit hectic, said Kurina. Well, if I see any of them messing with him, they will have hell to pay. What's this? Do you have a soft spot for the wandering boy? Nah, but he's a lot like me, Uncle said, as her hand subconsciously went up to her curse mark. Well, he seemed to be able to take care of himself, so there isn't a lot for you to worry about, said Kurina. Yeah, I guess you're right. Not to mention, he beat the shit out of Kakashi. For a kid, he's rather powerful. Later that night, as Naruto was lying down with Natsume, you felt them, didn't you? Those 5 other people watching us. Yes, I could recognize 3 of them. 2 of them had Hana's scent. That meant that they probably just follow her. And one of them was Sai, that boy Sarutobi told us about. The last 2 I didn't recognize, but one of them smelled like snake. As she clenched her fists, I wonder if it's a spy for the snake. I see, said Naruto. I was kind of hoping you recognized the last 2. Well, your return has turned a lot of heads. There will be a lot of people watching us. I'm surprised there wasn't some more. Yeah, but the one forest away. Something about it bothers me, said Naruto. Yeah, I sensed as well, but he ran away rather quickly. They will show themselves soon enough though. Meanwhile, underneath Konoha, a teenage boy came to a stop as he bowed. It appeared the Hokage provided special genuine examinations for 2 teenagers, the boy said. I see. What weaklings does Sarutobi wish to invite to become this village? New Shinobi, Naruto, and Katsumai. I could not get their last names, but I believe the boy is Namikaze and Uzumaki Naruto. The man said. After all these years, he has finally returned, with a partner nonetheless. I thought that he had died. The boy nodded, but you should know. He was assigned to fight Kakashi Hatake. At first it looked like a normal genuine test, but once it was over, Kakashi had severe wounds over his body and bleeding a lot. It makes me think that he's a lot stronger than he puts on. They're now assigned into my genuine cell, with Kakashi as their leader. Good work. Go back to your assigned mission, and make sure that you keep an eye on both him and the Uchiha. Yes, Danzo-sama. As Sai made his way off, Sarutobi, you old fool. Last time, you refused to give me the boy, but now, he will be mine. As Danzo reached for a file, as there was a photo of 6-year-old Naruto on it, as a man smirked. Meanwhile, at River Country, it appears that the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi is alive, and has returned after 6 years, returning back to become a shinobi of Konoha. I see. Good. No more plans can commence without hunting after him. You two, go and observe the Jinchuriki for now. If there's a chance for him to get captured, do so. As both men nodded that were in the cave as he went off. Is there anything else? He appears to be a lot stronger than a normal genin, the plant man said. He was able to best Kakashi Hatake. That is of no concern. Those 2 should be enough. The rest of you know what to do. As they all phase away, except for a female. Are you sure those 2 can handle it alone? Itachi, no Konoha the best. If some other insolent people tried to get in the way, Kisame would be there for backup. There shouldn't be a problem, Konan. Understood, Pain-sama, she said. Time skip, as a maid was running with a scroll in her hand. As she knocked on the door rather quickly. Enter, a strong feminine voice said. As the maid entered the sea, 3 kids sitting down in front of their sensei. Sorry for interrupting, but the top secret scroll just arrived from one of your spies within Konoha. She took the scroll as the maid left. What is it, Mom? One of the young girls asked. The girl was a carbon copy of her mother. She had red shoulder-length hair and blue eyes. She was wearing a white training GI that hid her figure as well, something she was thankful for. For only being a 12-year-old girl, she was rather well endowed, something that she really hated because of all the male attention on her. She was 4'11" with blue eyes. Her personality was a lot like her mother's. The woman looked up. It seems like you will be able to achieve your dream, Kasumi-chan. Wait, you mean? The boy on the left of the girl said. Yes, Values-kun. It seems like your brother's alive. And a dear shinobi of Konoha at that. Values had silver hair. His eyes were light hazel. He was rather strange because he was rather fascinated with blood. Something about it just, well, it attracted him. He was also wearing a white GI as well. So we're finally gonna meet our brother, the last team said. That you will, Koshiro-kun, the woman said. He was a rather oddball. While his siblings enjoyed something, he enjoyed, well, nothing. No one knew what he wanted to become a shinobi. One day he just said that he wanted, and that was that. His emotion was rather calm, really calm, and sometimes he seemed bored of everything. I'll finally get my revenge, said Kasumi in a hateful voice. Only if you're strong enough, the woman said. Yes, Kushina-sama, all three of them said at the same time. If only you could have turned out like them, Naruto-kun. But don't worry. We will finally end your miserable existence. To let your soul rest, you will no longer be controlled by that demon inside of you, said Kushina. As that thing had took her son away from her and taken over his body and was using him as a vessel, his soul would finally be able to rest afterwards. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want the next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification, see post about more for now. See you guys soon. Peace.